All right, what we're going to do right now is demonstrate how we can use PearDeck to make thinking visible, regardless of where your students are. Maybe they're in class with you, maybe they're at home, but with PearDeck, we can make that learning visible right through the computer. So what we're going to do is start by launching the PearDeck add-on. In Google Slides, I've already set up some content, and in Google Slides, I'm going to go to add-ons, and then I'm going to launch the PearDeck add-on. What that will do, it will open up PearDeck as a part of my Google Slides. You see this little sidebar will pop up, and from there, I can start the lesson. So I have started my lesson, and now I'm waiting for my learners. This gives me a choice. Do I want it to be student-paced, or do I want it to be instructor-paced? Now, in this day and age, we know those words as asynchronous. That means I might post that to my learners in Google Classroom or provide them a link, however I get resources to my students. If I want to do it live with my learners right now, we're going to do it instructor-paced. That allows me to progress through the lesson when we're working synchronously or together. So now that it's going, it launches up the PearDeck tool. And there's a couple ways I can get my young learners connected to this lesson. I see that there's a link there that says joinpd.com. They could go to that link and then put in the code. They always add a fun little acronym explanation there, and kids love to read that. It's a little engaging piece of this. Or when I'm working synchronously, one easy way to get learners connected is to hit the link here that says give students a link. If I'm working with them live, I can grab that and put it into the chat of whatever tool I am using. So if I have a Google Meet or a Zoom, and I can just drop that link to the learners right there, that gets rid of one of those steps of waiting for really young learners to have to punch in that code. So I see now I can watch the students connect. I have 2 learners connected so far. And then I can sit and wait, make sure that if I have 10 kids in class, maybe I know that I need to wait for just a few more to join us. So get a couple more learners ready to go. Awesome possum. When I'm ready, I can press Start Class, and that will get our PearDeck lesson rolling. So you see here, this is the beginning, PearDeck, right? It's for lesson engagement. It's for synchronous or asynchronous learning. Students can respond. The results are visible immediately. It's a great way for us to have that engagement during our online classes. I'm going to advance this here, and you can see our goal today. Our lesson objective is that we're going to build some numbers with tens and ones. And as I continue through here, one of the things I often do with my learners to get a lesson started is play a quick little which one doesn't belong. I love WODB, which one doesn't belong, simply because it gives my learners a chance to look at math critically, think about different ways to answer a question. So you hear it says, which one doesn't belong? And of course, on the PearDeck, the students all have a check mark. And that check mark allows them to drag which one doesn't belong. When I press show responses here, it will actually show what the students have chosen. And I can say, oh, I noticed that one friend has chosen the one that's blue. And if I wanted to, I could even call on my learners and ask them to tell me why. I can say, hey, Craig, I wonder why you chose the one that was blue. And maybe he'll say, well, this one doesn't belong because it's blue and the others are red. Now, I noticed that 2 friends chose the ladybugs in the upper left-hand corner. Why do you think that one doesn't belong? This one doesn't belong because, so it's a way for us to have some academic dialogue, right? We can use the big math vocabulary right there to explain our reasons. We know that in the California and Common Core standards of mathematical practice, we have that need for practice 3, where students construct viable arguments and explain their why. So right here in PearDeck, we can play this quick little game of which one doesn't belong, and we can talk about which one we think doesn't belong, and also gives us an opportunity to realize that sometimes there's more than one right answer, right? So it's a really great way. As we continue on in this PearDeck lesson, I'll start with my direct teach, and I can do my think aloud, my out loud part of this lesson. I see that I have 10 and 4. 10 and 4. What does that make? 10 and 4 make 14, right? So that's my model. So if I have 10 and 4, I know I can put those together, and 10 and 4 make 14. Now, What about 10 and 7? I have a 10 and 7 more. 10 and 7. When I put them together, you guys have an idea? Using PearDeck, my students now have a draw tool. And on their screen, they can say 10 and 7. What do I get with 10 and 7? And I give them a couple moments to respond, and I can show responses. Now, when I hit show responses, I want to make sure that I'm, ready to put that on the screen there. And I notice that here in this view, I only see one response. But in the upper left-hand corner here, I see I have some different layout options. For example, if I wanted to see all the students' tiles in one space, I can click on the grid layout. And that allows me to see a response from every one of my learners in one space. So it's a great way for me to just get that immediate response. 10 and 7 makes 17. You guys did an awesome job. 10 and 7 makes 17. Awesome. We can continue on. Because this is instructor paced, when I turn the page, it turns the page for the students as well. Of course, we can continue on here. We can say, what is 10 and 1? And we can just repeat that task, right? The more we do something, we can build some fluency with this idea. 10 and 1. What is 10 and 1? Maybe I can give them a timer. Okay, guys, 10 seconds, right? And by putting a little bit of constraint there, that allows them to quickly answer, and we can continue in the lesson. Now, in a minute, that lesson is going to change up just a little bit, but I can quickly check the responses, got it, good. Maybe I might call on a friend, hey, Craig, how's it going there? Can I help you with something, right? If I need to support those learners, I could do that as well. As I continue, just a couple other things, I can also change up the task. Here, it's a little different. I notice that I have 10 and I'm trying to make 13. How many ones do I need here? This allows my students to continue practicing that same concept, but now the item type is just a little different. So now that they have the draw tool, my learners can go complete the 10 frames using PearDeck. So 10 and something make 13. So it's that idea of having part, whole, or in this example, we have part and whole, and we have to figure out what the other part is. So my learners can quickly add the dots. I often suggest to them that they can play with the pin tools and find the ones that make most sense to them. That way, when I do show the responses, I see some friends do small dots, big dots. Awesome, very cool. But I get to see that immediate response right there on the screen of how my learners are progressing with this standard. PearDeck, even with very little learners, can be a great way to encourage engagement during our synchronous lessons.